1 second. I just realized that I was speaking on mute. And good thing is that I realized it myself because there's no way on YouTube unless I go and open YouTube to find out that I am on mute. I hope it is audible now. And the only thing I was saying before I unmuted myself is I wish you all a very happy Diwali in advance and Dhanteras in advance. And I hope you're all geared up for all the mithais and all the patakes and all the, you know, um, cards, playing of the cards and all of that, right? For this Diwali. So मैं एक बार quickly check कर रहा हूँ क्योंकि it's very difficult for me to find out if anybody is really watching me or not. And I'm really live. Yeah, I can see myself as live and 6 people already watching me as well, which is perfect stuff. So हमारा topic क्या है? हम लोग करने वाले हैं FY26 का H1 का रिव्यू कि हमारा फर्स्ट हाफ कैसा रहा। फर्स्ट हाफ जब मैं बोलता हूँ मैं अप्रैल मई जून जुलाई अगस्त सितंबर की बात कर रहे हैं। वी जस्ट फिनिश द फर्स्ट हाफ ऑफ फाइनेंशियल ईयर 26 एंड हम लोग का आउटलुक क्या है। अभी दिवाली इज एक्चुअली कमिंग एट एग्जैक्टली जंक्शन वेयर usually come in the same month of October November where it is a juncture of H1 and H2 from a fiscal year perspective, FY perspective. From a calendar year perspective, of course, we are now 9 months into the journey from calendar year. But होता क्या कि calendar year के numbers अगर आप देखोगे तो you get very unhappy or disappointed because January, February were very difficult month, right, for all the sectors. And the January, February का जो rub off effect है वो आज तक हमें दिखता है when we look at the calendar year numbers from Jan to October. अगर हम फिजिकल ईयर की बात करें, somebody who started in April is really sitting at a very good place. Absolutely, the point remain that अगर आप 1 year ट्रेडिंग बेसिस से बात करते हैं, लास्ट सितंबर टू लास्ट टू दिस अक्टूबर और अक्टूबर टू अक्टूबर हम लोग फ्लैट हैं. इफ यू थिंक अबाउट इट, ऑफ कोर्स देयर आर पॉकेट्स, देयर आर मल्टी एसेट्स काइंड ऑफ strategies which had gold, silver, more than equity, and they are doing fantastically well. There are themes, whether it is the India's financial growth theme had been the winner, right? Capital market had been the winner. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to open up a sheet, show you the numbers which my team has put together, and we'll give it a good time to go through those numbers now. So अगर आप देखोगे मेरी शीट जो मैं दिखाने वाला हूँ, हमें शीट पे बात करने वाले हैं हम बैलेंस बास्केट, मैंने इसे बैलेंस मल्टी एसेट बास्केट पे बात करने वाले हैं और आई होप आप मेरी स्क्रीन देख भी पा रहे होंगे. So if you look, this is January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, right? We are in October. This is sorted by YTD, year to date, from a fiscal year. So this is April to October 14th return. This is YTD calendar wise, मतलब जैन से लेकर मैंने यहाँ पे ना हाइड कर दी कॉलम्स जस्ट टू मेक इट इजियर फॉर यू. आई अनहाइड क्विकली. तो बेसिकली ये जनवरी से लेकर हमारे अक्टूबर के नंबर्स हैं, जैन टू अक्टूबर और ये अप्रैल टू अक्टूबर. सो बट रीजन आई एक्चुअली हिट दो सेल्स बिकॉज यहाँ से जो नंबर्स हैं वो अप्रैल से रिपीट होंगे ना. अप्रैल में जून जुलाई अगस्त सितंबर विल बी रिपीटेड इन बोथ द शीट्स, बट फिर भी रख लेते हैं फॉर द ईज ऑफ आवर डिस्कशन. तो आप देखोगे कि जनवरी फरवरी बहुत रेड रहा अक्रॉस सेक्टर्स. देयर वाज नो it was very difficult. People who started in January immediately had a fall across sectors. So but if you see the light on, and if we talk about, say, पहले हम कैलेंडर ईयर की बात कर लेते हैं बिकॉज कैलेंडर ईयर में एटलीस्ट मैं इसको हाइड ही कर देता हूँ सो दैट यू आर नॉट कंफ्यूज्ड. सो हमारा ये है पूरा साल. अक्टूबर की जहां हम बात कर रहे हैं, हम बात कर रहे हैं पिछले 15 दिन की, 14 दिन की. बाकी हम बात कर रहे हैं पूरे मंथ्स की. सो अगर आप देखोगे और मैं इसको अगर सॉर्ट कर देता हूँ, so the sector which really outperformed from a calendar year perspective is defense, and उसका reason आपको पता ही है कि of course this has been a sector from many years now in terms of a lot of focus on the capex by the government and lot of order book. The reason being अभी हमने देखा हमारा इंडिया पाकिस्तान हो गया, हमारा ग्लोबल ट्रेड टेंशंस जो कि अल्टीमेटली कन्वर्ट हो रहे हैं कहीं ना कहीं इनटू Russia, Ukraine, and into India, Pakistan, and all of that, which means that the entire concept around Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India, be strong on the defense is really playing up even for the company which is a part of the index. So, so defense index has been the winner. something which really came out in the last few months. If you, this is the monthly breakdown, right? So आपने देखा कि मार्च में क्या क्या मस्त मूव आया, and then we have seen July, यहाँ पे सारे defense funds, index funds, say baskets, small case baskets had a huge drawdown. But if you see, this is how it has been playing and really coming out as a winner. Of course, the loser is very is a tough thing to be, but IT has been the biggest loser of this calendar year so far, with nearly this kind of returns. The reason being, as we all know, that dollar also started appreciating. Nasdaq has been giving one-way kind of move. Indian IT and US IT were totally running in divergence in terms of there is no correlation. Also because AI has been the new talk of the town, और AI की वजह से अभी अभी आपने देखा कि कंपनीज ने अपने ऐसे एचसीएल के नंबर्स आए तो कंपनीज ने अपने AI नंबर्स अलग से दिखाना शुरू करे हैं पहली बार, so that we can actually understand that AI, the IT companies are moving into which direction, right? Which IT company is the first one to kind of move into the direction of new stuff, whether it is cloud or it is AI or all of that. That will also help us differentiate कि हमें product companies के साथ रहना है, service companies के साथ रहना है, तो किस type of companies के साथ रहना है. So the IT had been the issue, whether it is IT or mid small IT, right? Overall, kind of numbers to see. If you see Nifty 50 perspective, we are okay. We are like a fixed deposit, which is not too bad. But any fixed deposit kind of return with lot of volatility is not good. Where we have seen drawdowns to a likes of like this double digits. I mean not double digits, but higher. Kind of numbers, 5-6% in a month for a broad market looks very painful. Sounds very painful. January February of course is a past. I'll say this January, February should be very different to what January, February was last year or say 2025. And I'm very hopeful that FY also should start showing some money coming back to India. Money was all moving to Vietnam and Taiwan and all of those kind of stuff into say companies which were say doing semiconductors, companies which were doing gold mining and all of that, right? Now, I think with a lot of earnings support which we will get from our own market because of say GST rate cuts which has been a big move. And आप देखो हमारे टू व्हीलर्स की जो बुकिंग्स हैं वो हाईएस्ट हैं पिछले महीने, एंड द एंटायर 100 basis point का जो रेट कट किया था वो भी अब पास हो रहा है धीरे धीरे, राइट? सो अगर देखोगे तो लोन्स नियरली 50 basis point से कम हो चुके हैं, सस्ते हो गए हैं, और अभी भी और 0.5% बैंक को पास करना होगा फॉर सो टू काइंड ऑफ completely pass on the benefit to the retail users so that loan सस्ते मिलेंगे. लोन सस्ते मिलेंगे तो EMI कम होगी, EMI कम होगी तो आपके पास पैसा होगा हाथ में to spend. So this has been the journey. Metal and PSU Bank is really coming as a winner. If you see last month itself, PSU Bank, if you see last month itself, metals, they've done really well. If you see say September alone, so you see how PSU Bank was the winner. वेरी क्लीन विनर. और आप बैंक्स में अगर देखेंगे तो जो बैंक की बैलेंस शीट्स है हमारी कंट्री में, दे हैव बीन बिकमिंग स्ट्रॉन्गर एंड स्ट्रॉन्गर आफ्टर कोविड. Absolutely, there is a lot of kind of discussions keep happening around credit growth and all of that. क्रेडिट ग्रोथ भी खैर थोड़ी रिवाइव हुई है पिछले महीने के जो नंबर्स आए थे, लेकिन इफ यू थिंक फ्रॉम अ पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ लेंडिंग, थोड़ा तो क्रेडिट, अगर आप क्रेडिट मूड बोर्ड देखोगे तो एब्सोल्युटली देयर इज अ इशू एट अ ब्रॉड लेवल, बट देयर आर फ्यू बिजनेस लाइंस, देयर आर फ्यू थिंग्स लाइक से पर्सनल लोन्स, अनसिक्योर्ड लोन्स फॉर एग्जांपल, क्रेडिट कार्ड लोन्स, देयर इज अ अपटिक देयर, व्हिच मींस कंजम्पशन तो बढ़ रहा है, उसका अल्टीमेट इंपैक्ट है कि कंजम्पशन बढ़ता है. एंड दूसरी बात, अगर आप एनबीएफसी स्पेस देखो तो एनबीएफसी स्पेस इज राइटली काइंड ऑफ पोजीशन बिकॉज उनको सस्ता कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल मिल जाता है, एंड देन they can of course lend more because middle class bhi kahin na kahin is becoming upper middle class, and with the entire growth in this entire space ecosystem of mid financials, mid cap financials and NBFC, with RBI rate cuts, with even inflation being in control, right? Inflation numbers are lowest time if you see from so many quarters, lowest numbers. That's all helpful. So if you see metal and auto ऑटो हैड बीन अ वेरी गुड, ऑटो में काफी मूव आया, एंड ऑटो से ज्यादा मुझे लगता है ऑटो का तो बहुत अच्छा ही है, क्योंकि जो जीएसटी का इम्पैक्ट आया और हमने देखा कि टू व्हीलर्स या जो बुकिंग्स हमारी फेस्टिव सीजन में अभी होती हैं, वो जो जो लोग नई गाड़ी खरीदते हैं, नया बाइक खरीदते हैं, दशहरा दिवाली जो पूरा पीरियड है, दो ही चीज़ों का है ये पीरियड। एक हमारा कंजम्पशन जो होता है, डिस्क्रिशनरी कंजम्पशन वो बढ़ता है, चाहे वो गैजेट्स हों, चाहे वो मिठाइयाँ हों, चाहे वो ज्वेलरी हो, चाहे वो ऑल ऑफ दिस काइंड ऑफ डिस्क्रिशनरी कंजम्पशन बढ़ता है, जेम्स एंड ज्वेलर, आई मीन जो ऑल ऑफ दिस राइट, इन टर्म्स ऑफ इवन रिटेल, जो जो बड़े बड़े रिटेल चेन्स होती हैं उनकी भी सेल्स बढ़ती हैं। जीएसटी का सब जगह आजकल बोर्ड लगे होते हैं, न्यू रेट फॉर यू, राइट, जीएसटी रिवाइज रेट फॉर यू, इवन इन ऑल ऑफ दिस। एंड जीएसटी की अगर आप एक बहुत अच्छी रिपोर्ट है, क्रिसिल की बहुत अच्छी रिपोर्ट है पर सेक्टर, मेबी आई कैन ऐड इन द डिस्क्रिप्शन विद द ड्यू क्रेडिट टू क्रिसिल, बहुत अच्छी रिपोर्ट है ऑन जीएसटी बेनिफिट्स के किस सेक्टर में हुए हैं और कैसे वो पास ऑन होंगे, चाहे वो भले ही एग्रीकल्चर में हो, इन टर्म्स ऑफ पेस्टिसाइड्स में रिडक्शन हुआ, चाहे वो भला ही ऑटो में हो, चाहे वो भला ही द स्पेस ऑफ, अच्छा ऑफ कोर्स उसके भी दो साइड्स होते हैं हर चीज़ के, क्योंकि महंगी गाड़ी और महंगी महंगी काइंड ऑफ होटल और महंगा, तो आई थिंक 7,000 7,500 तक के होटल रूम सस्ते हो गए क्योंकि जीएसटी कम हो गया, 5% पे आ गया है जो नंबर आए हैं, और वही महंगे रूम्स और महंगे हो गए, राइट, दैट्स हाउ, of course, that is how the economics work. So this is as the year has been. I'll say that if you look from a year to date perspective, you see a lot of reds. You can see a lot of reds in in real estate, in IT telecom, IT, media, and not so great numbers in small cap and small cap 50 index, and good numbers across auto and metal and all of that, and defense and PSU sector, etc. Now, just see from a perspective of what is the purpose of this meeting, which is fiscal year. Because हम इन नंबर से कोई मतलब नहीं, हम इन नंबर्स को छुपा देते हैं और हम एक बार क्विकली जाके देख लेते हैं कि मैं यूट्यूब पे लाइव हूँ भी या नहीं हूँ, बिकॉज दैट इज ऑल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर मी टू चेक. I have to go back to YouTube to see whether I am still live and anybody can see me. या सो अल्फा की बात आज ही कर लेंगे रजत. अल्फा strategy is of course will not perform in such market, and that's where alpha index will be the highest. If I again go back to the same sheet and answer your question again, alpha kind of strategies won't be yeah, in the last 1 year as well. I think Nifty alpha index has been the toughest of all because of the nature of alpha kind of strategies. With the same time, if you see multi-asset kind of basket like balanced multi-asset, has been doing extraordinarily well, or any thematic fund like India Wealth Financial Theme has been doing extraordinarily well, like to legs of double digits kind of returns, right? So that's where you also have to decide at which market regime and what's your horizon in terms of the investment, and therefore accordingly you have to either remain invested in that or keep averaging it up. Otherwise it would be difficult, right, to pass this stage. Now coming back to where I was, मैं एक बार अल्फा भी देख लेता हूँ, बिकॉज अल्फा पे क्वेश्चन उठा था, अभी अभी उठा है, तो मैं आपको अल्फा इंडेक्स से दिखा सकता हूँ, सो दैट यू आर वेरी क्लियर. एंड इफ यू लुक एट फ्रॉम अल्फा इंडेक्स, Nifty Alpha 50 should be here somewhere. If not, the team has to add it here. But alpha low volatile, I can see 200 alpha 50. If you see alpha alone has one month, if you single months 11% drawdown, 15% drawdown in a month, and if you look from a perspective of FY, which is YTD, like what we are today in terms of where we are standing in alpha strategies, we are standing in at still a minus 10% kind of from last January to now. I mean from January to now in terms of 9 months return. So it's still at minus 10%. And if you look from a trailing return 1 year to 1 year, we are sitting at 14-15% negative, right? And that's where the strategy lies, right? If you see, this is those red dots. If you see from L column across themes, across sectors, across strategies, across broad market like Nifty 50, of course, alpha strategy does come between IT and the broad market, and it is at a negative territory. And if alpha strategy are in negative territory, it's the same signs It's the same logic, and therefore any basket which kind of does a real alpha strategy will be down to the same level. Uh, Now let's talk about the recovery. People who have joined in April, right? Whether it is on alpha strategy as well or on other strategies, you will see. I have of course data of the baskets we have. We have data of the entire mutual fund industry. So I can quickly show you even that so that you understand that mutual funds are down 10-15% as well, and not just broad markets or not just say baskets like ours. Now, if you see YTD perspective, the picture is very bright. There's only IT, which is negative from April to October now. But you see, of course, September was a difficult month for IT. I mean, because all of this happened suddenly in terms of AI, etc., and tariffs, etc. And because of tariff, this has been volatile. If you see, a very good quarter happened in April, May, June, right? I mean, in terms of at least a price action, capital market being the winner. And then you see a difficult period of July, August, September. So this October, November, December is where I am expecting in the green kind of something should be kind of visible because of consumption happening, inflation being down, rates being cut, GST being less, and festive demands, right, as well. So you see, Nifty is sitting around good numbers. This is day-to-day return, and if you see the winners on this side is absolutely capital markets again, whether it is fiscal year or calendar year, which means our India's wealth and financial theme has been a clear winner from our side, right? And whether it is auto or PSU bank, that you would see that we have coverage of all of this as part of auto components. If you see where coverage is part of alpha blend or any of these baskets. And you see now PSUs and PSU bank, which are doing well, are being added to other baskets as well, which have their respective kind of rebalance. So wherever is the movement happening, where is the sector rotation happening, I think we are able to track it to the T, and we'll be able to bring it to you as needed. Now, what I can also show you quickly is how the MF industry is doing. So H1 review I have done from a perspective of 6 months, April to September. Next 6 months, I am very optimistic, to be very honest. Being an asset manager, as I just was finished kind of a media conference where we were speaking to journalists around same thing, that I think that the first half of this financial year was not at all bad. It was good. There were pockets like PSU banks and sector where there was a kind of a good move, and capital market space, auto, metal. Of course, IT and all had been real struggle. Consumption, the traditional consumption, right, which we used to see like Dabur numbers, Britannia numbers, and so we can understand, okay, what is the kind of real consumption happening in the urban and rural space. That has changed. The slight nature of that is changed because we now look into new age consumption, right? We'll now look into more of the fintech and food tech startups, and on their valuations and the kind of momentum they are picking up because of the kind of pricing power they have, that if they want to get you 10 rupees added on a delivery, and they have lakhs and lakhs of orders being placed daily every second, then that's a pricing power they cannot get, they have now, and that's where these kind of companies will of course have a better future, and their books will get better for sure. So coming to, I also happen to have data of the entire MF industry as well. So let me just quickly show you that as well. No, so Rajat, if your subscription is getting due, and if you are not yet have seen greenery, I'll really request you to do not change strategy for the sake of it. You should add a strategy to balance your current strategy. So if you have alpha kind of strategy, a balanced multi-asset strategy, a multi-asset strategy would really do good as a balance to you. Along with, you should add more capital to your alpha strategy so that you can because we have added quality as a factor over there, which means you can actually buy those companies at a lower price, right? Which are, say, right now sitting in negative for you. Potential for India financial growth is really there. I mean, not to worry at all. Lakshmi Prashant is doing really well. I mean, if you see the entire industry, there is also moving towards more of a accrual model, and that is where the things you see that how We have seen a recent report and study where all the big brokers, whether it is a discount brokerage, big names, which we all have kind of seen the last 10, 15 years, uh, doing zero discount, zero cost brokerage and all of that have now realized and now say writing on LinkedIn that the era of discount brokerage has to go away because there's no other benefit which they get because the expiries are weekly expiries, whether monthly expiry. There's a lot of volumes going away. I think MF industry is absolutely seeing big inflows. We had a 30,000 net inflow happen in the last month, 30,000 crore. But we also see 25% of users, I think, on the brokers left the broker platform, the big broker platform. So people are moving more towards systematic investment. At the same time, uh, that's what I will want to show that people are in rush of buying silver ETF and all of that because that's a tough part of being able to explain to any individual being an asset manager that you are chasing something which is already kind of have moved a much, and therefore if you started with something. No, so Rajat, we are not going to change any strategy in alpha to improve the performance alpha blend. So capital protection is important. I understand. Then you have to add more money into alpha blend. Second, alpha blend is not designed to move to cash. There is no downside protection on the hedging side is possible. It's not a cash conversion basket. It's not a multi-asset basket to have negative to have a correlated commodity added to reduce the equity exposure or equity risk. So that's a choice an individual make to select a high aggressive equity only basket. So nothing we will be able to do or will do because that's on the mandate of that portfolio. The mandate of the portfolio is what we do there. However, as I said, for capital protection, for downside protection, for hedging, for reducing the volatility, you have to have a basket, right, which has a correlation, negative correlation to it, so that you can add those commodities at the time when they are needed, right? Such as balanced multi-asset basket, or for that matter, say a thematic basket which you can buy on dips every time, right? So that's where the choice. And if you are say uncertain on the alpha as a factor, then multi-factor kind of strategies really work well. So multi-factor strategies are really doing really well. So let me show you MF data. Also, I happen to fetch. I mean, it's a free data. Everybody can fetch. Just that my team likes it to give it to me in Excel. So that's why you see an Excel here, and I'll show you now. So here you will see all 2000 odd schemes which are there in the mutual fund industry, which carry lakhs and lakhs of crores. Maybe some data is repeated because regular fund and direct fund and all of that will come. But let me show you what I see. I am just opening it for the first time because I was given this sheet from my team to show in this meeting. So let me just, yeah, open, yeah. And 1 second, guys. I'm just kind of trying to close this, open this, sorry. So let me share my screen again, and this is for mutual funds. This is the calendar year view of, maybe it is not open yet. Yeah, so you see a lot of yellows and okay, let me share my screen, guys, first of all. So as of the calendar year, where we have seen a lot of negative numbers on the what you call on the broad indexes, themes index as well as broad index, which I'm going to show you now is absolutely the MF data, which NAV is published daily on the MFI website. And you see from a calendar perspective, January to October, there are mutual funds, and I don't mind calling out their name, like Shriram Multi-Sector Rotation Fund is sitting at 21% negative returns, right? Because all of that came from January, February itself. And of course, we'll see fiscal year as well, where we'll see how they're doing. But you see so much redness in excess IT index fund, and IT is understood, right? We saw IT index is not doing, then of course we can't do much about the mutual fund, which is replicating, trying to just copy the index. But if you see about active fund like multi-sector rotation fund is sitting at minus 21%. Somebody started in January, is sitting as minus 120, minus 20% in a mutual fund, right? And people think mutual fund, I mean, they have a very different perspective, kind of view. Samco FlexiCap fund is sitting as minus 17%. Union Mutual Fund, Active Momentum Fund is sitting as minus 15%. So if Nippon Active Momentum Funds, all these momentum funds are also realty fund. Again, because realty is down, index is down, nothing much can be done about it. Even IT index is down, and if IT funds are sitting as 13, 14, 17, 20% minus. Now, this is the bad picture. Of course, a lot of fund like value fund in LIC, DSPIT, HSBC small cap fund, they're sitting as minus 9%, right? This is your year to date view, right? January to now. Now, if you want to see the bright picture, you see uh, fund of fund like I mean gold fund of fund, India Equity Saving Fund. I think some numbers are missing here, so I have to remove those rows. But if you see some numbers, silver ETF, silver ETF, silver ETF, and again, this is a problem. Now, mutual funds have stopped. A lot of mutual funds have stopped taking new inflows in silver ETF because the mandate says that you need to buy physical silver for the units you keep and take money and buy units. But there is a lack of silver, right? There's a lack of actual commodity, and therefore, if you take new money, you can't deploy, and if you can't deploy, the thing which is happening is mispricing, right? That's a big thread happening all across on LinkedIn, on Twitter, that that the ETFs are trading at 6-7% higher price. So you are actually paying 6-7% higher when you're buying today for something which is 6-7% cheaper because of the demand supply mismatch. So of course there's a lot of ETF on gold and silver which has given fabulous 50-60 kind of return. But if you think from a perspective of and then you have Brazil fund, China fund, emerging market funds, global artificial intelligence fund, they've written 20-30%. But you have seen India, you have capital market theme, defense theme, auto, PSU, anyhow, kind of giving you that kind of movement. And then ex-Japan, Asia Pacific. But if you talk about our real India funds, then of course PSU Bank comes in with 20% kind of number. But if you come from a perspective of, say, a proper good multi-asset, yeah, multi-asset will do really well, 19%. But if you remember of active managed normal fund, which is not multi-asset, which is not US fund or a emerging market fund or not a theme fund, I see that the numbers go back to there's no fund I can find yet anywhere in the entire mutual fund industry which is able to generate alpha, right? If you think from that perspective, and they're all are multi-asset. So unless we come down to the same 5, 6, 4, 5%, which anyways, right? And I'll tell you, of course, I can't show the baskets here because that's not public data. This is public data. This is all public data. You can fetch from NAV. I mean, you can see the NAV with a single click on AMFI website. This is all public. The index is all free data, public data, and therefore I can show you this data, which is free. So you see, there is no fund yet which is even touching 5-6% in calendar year basis, which is not a multi-asset fund or a silver fund or a gold fund. And therefore, the entire confusion, if you carry that mutual funds are doing better than the basket strategies, you are mistaken because that's not the fact and numbers has to speak for themselves. The only thing people don't realize and which they avoid doing in baskets like ours, there you are very happy doing SIP of 25,000 and then forgetting about it and not even checking. But here you are checking every day and then thinking that, and then not willing to even add money in the basket. And so that's where you see Nifty 50 index fund. So you have come to 5%, but you don't see any fund, proper any fund which is an active fund and has kind of done justice to active management of generating alpha, because markets are weak. How can you generate alpha? But when you talk about alpha strategy being downside protection, we just saw that there are funds which are active funds like like our active basket, which are sitting at minus 17-20% negative in this year to date. And again, we are all part of the same ecosystem, so I understand how this works, and therefore I am totally in line with what Semco Mutual Fund FlexiCap has done in the last 9 months to get to 17% negative. And this part of the cycle, this is the how markets work, right? Now somebody who is in this fund will be very unhappy, right? It is same as somebody investing in an active fund thinking that it will beat the index. It will at least beat Nifty. If Nifty is at 5, you're at minus 17, you're not beating at anything. But that kind of visibility of data, that kind of understanding of data does not lie with retail investor, and he thinks that mutual fund is still making returns, but the baskets are not making so, because you are actually confused. Here you are doing SIPs and not even checking it. You are believing in the strategy, whether it is a flexi cap fund or is it a sector rotation fund, because you have come with that intention of 3-5 year, and this all will normalize, right? If you go back 1 year, you will see these fund doing extraordinarily well. Similar thing happened, right, with any basket strategies like alpha blend or any of it, that you have to make sure that you understand what you're getting into, and accordingly plan to kind of add more money, do SIPs, keep adding more, kind of averaging it up, so that as active research house, when we create model portfolios, our job is we never expect that you buy and then you will not add money, right? We'll expect you to keep adding money when the markets are going down, and we really see, because when we add quality as a parameter in our baskets, when we do a lot of research and we add quality as a parameter, and we really focus too much on balance sheets, etc., where and we still make very concentrated portfolios, which is 15 companies, and unlike say a broad the retail product like this, which is 40 companies right in it, we still would want to generate a level of alpha by being concentrated in terms of 10, 12, 15 companies. But at the same time, we also request you to understand that if you are a part of alpha blend, if you are fine, if you are that high aggressive investor, otherwise, do you have a balanced multi-asset basket to match to it? Or do you have a growth and value flexi cap basket to match to it? That's how we see it. And that's how I respond to all the emails and the queries we get. And of course, I'll use this video as well as a yeah. Lakshmikant, as compared to India's financial growth, July cohort is not going up. In fact, it's negative 3%. What should we add in it? Yeah. When should we please do? Please do add in it. Multi-asset fund, Prem, I have shown you many multi-asset fund, absolutely positive. You look at balanced multi-asset basket, multi-asset balance basket of Golfi, it's superbly positive. You see last 1 month, you see last 3 months, you see last 6 months, it's been crazily doing great. Of course, because it is multi-asset, gold and silver are giving that kind of push. Plus, if you see from a valuation perspective, right? If you look from a Nifty 500 valuation perspective, which is called broad market, we are, I think, it's sitting at a 10-year median P multiple, which simply mean that we are not overheated at all, right? We are not overheated. Now, now we are at a say at the cusp of increase in consumption on the ground. Of course, government is doing a lot to kind of add liquidity to the markets, whether it is of course interest I mean inflation is in control, which is a great fantastic thing. They are doing it by say asking banks, NBFCs to pass on the CRR, I mean pass on the rate cuts which has happened 100 basis point plus. With inflation being in control, there's absolutely a great opportunity and a freedom for the central bank and the ministry. I mean, if you think from the ecosystem perspective, that further rate cuts can happen, right? And when that happen, and when and gold and silver are say gold and silver, even if you say from a perspective of great growth, I see silver. I think just that is a mispriced right now in terms of ETF, in terms of liquidity. But yeah, these assets absolutely do generate a standard kind of return. And of course, the gold and silver move in spurts of years. There will be years, like 10 years, 15 years, when they have zero movement, nothing will move, right? Then you will maybe in the next meeting in our Zoom, which is this Dhanteras, right? AMA. I'll show you that gold and silver. You will all know anyways that gold and silver have not moved, say, for 10 years with a single rupee, right? That's how it happens. But say broad markets, equity markets, and does with Indian like infrastructure kind of ecosystem. I think we are not in the phase which is Japan or where there is no movement happening in the equity space. So I think equity is a place to be, provided you have the right asset allocation for yourself, and balanced multi-asset kind of basket from us also gives you that asset allocation for sure. It has cash, it has gold, it has silver, it has large cap. All of that is a large cap model. And when you are aggressive with alpha blend kind of a model, which is all cap, it has 750 universe, which means that it may have many small companies as well. I think that kind of growth and value flexi cap model or balance basket kind of multi-asset model really helps you to do the required journey. But the idea was to show all of this that was, of course, we all part of the same industry. Nothing against any fund house, any fund manager, or anybody for that matter. I just wanted to prove a point to all of you that it's it's the nature of the game. So people are superbly confused about mutual funds returning positive returns and fancy thing when they're not realizing that a flexi cap fund in a MF space is sitting at minus 17%, whereas I'll say none of my basket is sitting at that level. I can claim that, right? So, and when we talk about themes, which are the top theme of F of 2025, it is a capital market theme, and we have a product on capital market theme, which is India's financial and wealth theme. Of course, the numbers will go up and down from a month-to-month perspective because maybe we have higher exposure to broking firms or to depository participants or to NBFCs, and the money might be coming from in PSU banks, for example. But these are all quarterly rebalanced basket, and therefore we are very flexible and agile to be able to move them in the appropriate territory when we have to. That's how we are. We are where the money is. We are where the market is giving us a direction, and we are doing extraordinary, stable, and well. If I talk about the entire industry across all 2000 mutual fund schemes or whatever you call it, we have products for all categories like multi-asset baskets or a theme basket or a broad market basket. And we are sitting in the first quadrant of all the industry participants to generate and not just generating alpha, it's all about picking the right company so that our research model is right, our research quality is right. So request all of you to share this video. I know that very less people do watch it during a weekday, and but my job is to keep doing it so that you are fully aware that wherever your money is and wherever your you put your trust in, we are working very hard and we have full understanding of where is the market doing money. I mean, we nobody knows where's the market headed, but the variables which are at play right now, which are very supportive of FIs. Now, I think they're not putting more money. I think last month was the first month in many months where I think Taiwan had the negative FI or say outflow, whereas if the last many months it was absolutely inflow and we had the outflow. I was telling in my earlier press briefing that I remember an article in September last year. I think it was published in a printed all of these times of India sector, Hindu, etc. That September recorded highest inflows from FPIs. And that was the article I commented, I wrote in one of these newspapers in September, and that was the last month where we had the FPI inflows, and then we had seen a very bad 1 year of outflow, which also gave us a validation that two validation. One, that we need foreign money for sure. Second, our domestic market is very strong. We are receiving, I think 19 new funds came out last month itself, which are from the fund industry, and I think 1900 1900 crore of AUM got added, if I'm not wrong, around, right, to these new what you call baskets as well. So I hope I was live. There is no match to my Teams meeting versus what is I see on YouTube. So there is always this issue in syncing, or say, but I hope if anyone can confirm me on YouTube that I'm audible and you could hear me, then I think I'll stop the YouTube and I will come and meet all of you on this Saturday. Dhanteras, we'll do our monthly AMA meeting, and we will talk about these numbers in detail, talk about small case in details, and anything you would like to ask me, and where we are headed in terms of the rebalance, etc. That's all. I have 20 browsers open, so I have no idea of where to go back to the screen. But yeah, here I see live is running. Prasanna, absolutely great. And do they keep moving at the same pace? Yeah, yeah, add more. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes, you are still live. Thank you so much, guys. I think it was a wonderful time spent before lunch, and I hope it was useful to you. I have given you a complete H1 review of how market sectors have done, and H2 outlook is absolutely positive. Do not worry about the volatility. Please start thinking exactly the same how you think in a MF space where you keep adding money, where you keep not checking. So do something similar for strategies like small case baskets where do not check it before the rebalance has to trigger, and keep believing in the strategy you are a part of. Absolutely, if you're part of a volatile strategy or a high aggressive strategy, you should think about balancing it, buy a balanced kind of a basket, etc., etc. Right? So that's how I think all about it. And I will speak to you on this Saturday um, on my AMA, monthly AMA. Thank you, guys.